When I'm not having nightmares about every single Snapchat filter ever, I like to answer questions that I get on YouTube, so let's have at it. Sean, if you could only have 3 electric guitars, which ones would you like to own? So this comes down to a question of utility and versatility. Versatility? Versatility. And basically, I thought about this a long time, and I'm gonna go with an American Strat because that's where my spirit lies. I'm gonna go with the Ernie Ball Music Man Majesty, the Petrucci one, which is just like incredible, awesome guitar that you can do a lot of stuff with, and a Gibson 335. And I think those 3 guitars kind of have all your bases covered. And I've personally played all of them, and they're fantastic. It kind of broke my heart a little bit to leave the Telecaster off the list, but if you got to pick 3, I mean, it's just somebody's gonna miss the cut, and sadly, it was the Telecaster. What do you think about Les Paul guitars? All right, I kind of have a complicated relationship with Les Pauls. First and foremost, they're amazing guitars, arguably the most iconic guitar in the history of planet Earth. But for whatever reason, anytime I've picked up a Les Paul, it's been great, but I've never really connected with one. And I think a lot of people try to put guitar players in corners, like, are you a Les Paul player, are you a Strat player, or whatever. And I guess I'm more of a Strat guy, but I mean, Les Pauls are great. I just don't think, I don't know, maybe I'll have one someday, but I've never really played one that has just spoken to me. They're a little bit heavy. I'm not hating on Les Paul players at all. However, I do think that owning a Les Paul is kind of like owning a cat, where you get one cat and then you just want more cats. I feel like Les Paul players that have money just have a bunch of Les Pauls. And it's like, why do you have so many Les Pauls? Isn't one enough? But that being said, if I were to get a Les Paul, it would have to have binding on it. I feel like if you have the option, and you're not just going for a studio because it's all you can afford, if you have the option of choosing a Les Paul and you choose one without binding, I've got some real questions, and I'm not sure why you would do that. I also think that the Burstbucker Pro Series is probably dollar for dollar the best value of the Gibson Les Pauls, in my humble opinion. But I'm sure I'll probably get some flack for that. But not a huge Les Paul guy. Again, I'm a huge fan of the Fenders and the Music Man guitars. So there you have it. The drum smiles. Love it. Haha. So this is kind of in response to the rock song I posted last week, Going Under, where it's just me playing all the instruments, whatever. And as you can see, I'm kind of smiling. But first of all, have you ever been to a concert or seen a music video or something where the drummer is just smiling like a total idiot the entire time? I always thought that was kind of interesting until I saw myself playing drums for the first time, and I'm that guy, and I had no idea. I'm just I didn't feel it at all. I thought I was taking it very seriously. And then on playback, I was just smiling the whole time. That's pretty heavily edited for me to edit out the worst smiley parts, and it's still super smiley. So I've got a lot of soul searching to do because I always thought I was a more stoic drummer, but turns out that's not the case. And also, I appreciate all the feedback that I've been getting on that song. It's definitely very humbling, and it's very inspiring for me to finish this album. And I'm definitely going to have more stuff coming. So again, I always appreciate you guys watching, and I appreciate all the feedback you give, and I'll have more music for you soon. Hey Sean, not a fan of Taylor guitars. Yours sounds really good. What model is that? So I totally hear you on the Taylor guitar thing, because I was never huge into Taylor guitars either. I always thought they were kind of bright. I always equated them to like the church bands and stuff who have them plugged in, and that kind of bright sound that isn't really that full. And I always thought that's what a Taylor guitar was. I was always a Martin guy. I was always a Dreadnought guy. All the players I loved played Dreadnoughts and Martins and stuff like that too. And then I actually got a hold of this one, and this is a Taylor GA3. Again, they don't really make this one anymore. You can still find some of them used. The 314 is the more current model. And I think it comes down to tone woods, and that's something that I haven't talked a lot about, but basically, that's just the combination of woods that make up a guitar, and it has an incredible effect on the sound of a guitar. And this has a Sitka spruce top being a very common top for a guitar, and then the back and sides are solid sapelli. I think I'm saying that right. And I feel like that's kind of the secret to this guitar, where it still has kind of a brightness, but it's so balanced. I think the sapelli just kind of really binds the sound together and gives you a good overall tone. And the GA for GA3 stands for Grand Auditorium. That's the body cut of this, slightly smaller than a Dreadnought. And to me, I mean, when I first played this, I just couldn't believe it. I was like, this is not like the Taylors I had been accustomed to hearing. And I think it's just a combination of the tone woods and the body size. And that's something that maybe you should look into if like you're kind of searching for an acoustic guitar, not necessarily just be like, oh, I want a Martin, or oh, I want a Taylor, because there's so many different combinations of woods and body shapes and sizes and stuff across any guitar manufacturer that it's kind of worth maybe educating yourself a little bit about. But the one thing that I could never knock Taylor for, always, even before I was a Taylor fan, was the playability and the quality control between models is fantastic. In my opinion, the best of the mass-produced guitar manufacturers. So all of a sudden, I'm like a big Taylor guy. All right, we just need to take a second and talk about Bruno Mars' bass player. So he's got that new song, 24K Magic, and I'm going to link you for listening homework to the Saturday Night Live version of it. And I was like, okay, you know, Bruno Mars song, cool, party guy. And the first note I heard from the bass guitar player was just filthy. Like, this guy has like the nastiest live tone I've heard over like a compressed YouTube file. And I was just making like the bass face like the entire time listening to this guy. This guy's an absolute killer. So check out this performance of this song, because this guy's just awesome. Huge fan. Bruno Mars is definitely one of the cooler kind of pop acts out there right now. If you ever get a chance to see him live, it's pretty good. But yeah, that's basically it. Check that out. And any questions or comments, hit me up on Twitter, Instagram, or the comment section, and I will get back to you soon. Thanks a lot.